Aside from riding motorcycles, one of my biggest pastimes is NFL football. I've been a football fan for almost as long as I can remember, and always a fan of the LA to St. Louis and back to LA Rams. In fact, I've got a pennant hanging in the garage just right over my computer over here from the early 70s, and it was the first Rams game that I ever went to when I was a kid. When it comes to football, people often get caught up in who the quarterback is or who the wide receiver or running back is. After all, they make all the flashy plays, they break all the big records, and they make the big contracts as well. However, if you really know the game, you know it's often won or lost by the guys up front. The big players, these are the players that focus on the fundamentals of blocking and tackling, and that's often what separates a good team from an average team. You can have the flashiest quarterback in the world, but if he doesn't have the time to do his job, he won't put up those big numbers. Likewise, there are fundamentals in motorcycling. These are not the flashiest things in motorcycling, but if you don't have these fundamentals to build on, all of your other skills will suffer. This week on MCrider, we'll look at some of those fundamentals of riding. We'll go out to a parking lot and we'll test your ability to use some of these fundamentals out on the street. I was recently in a line of traffic and I was waiting on a train to pass. I had about 20 cars in front of me and another motorcycle directly in front of me. After the train passed and the cars began filtering through the intersection, I watched as the rider in front of me tried to control his motorcycle at slow speeds. It looked a little bit something like this. Now, this was a rider who was missing some key fundamentals of riding, and it showed by his slow speed control. One rule that you want to follow when riding is that if the wheels are turning, your feet should be up on the pegs. Come to a stop, your left foot goes down. Move out, your left foot goes back up to the peg. There may be some exceptions to this where both feet are down, like on an uneven surface or maybe a really windy day and you're trying to keep your balance. But this is a general rule to follow, and it demonstrates that you have control over the motorcycle at slow speeds. Now, most motorcycle crashes are actually slow speed drops, and this all comes back to learning and practicing the fundamentals of riding, that blocking and tackling of two wheels. So before we go out to the parking lot, let's discuss why slow speed skills are so important. First, riding a motorcycle at slow speeds is often more difficult than riding at road speed, and it carries less risk, so it's safer to practice. So if you master those slow speed skills, you can do so with less risk to you and the motorcycle, and it will make you a much better rider when the speeds pick up. Mastering slow speed skills forces you to learn proper clutch and throttle control, and it forces you to learn proper head placement, so where to look when you're out on the road. You learn how your body position on the motorcycle affects the motorcycle and its balance. And to be good at it, you have to be able to relax your upper body on the motorcycle. If you ride with a lot of tension, it shows in the way your posture is on the motorcycle, and it shows in the way that the motorcycle handles. So let's go out to a parking lot. I'll show you two simple exercises that are the fundamentals of slow speed control. If you can't do these two exercises, all of your other riding will suffer because of it. So let's look at some slow speed control, and I'll give you a couple exercises to help you develop yours. This is an easy exercise to work on. You can do it in a parking lot like this or out on a public street while you're waiting for traffic to move out. So the technique here, I've got my head and eyes up. I'm looking across the parking lot, not down towards the front tire. Got the clutch in the friction zone, so I'm controlling the speed of the motorcycle with the clutch. I'm giving it a little bit of throttle, not a whole lot, but a little bit of throttle, and I'm dragging the rear brake. So you want to ride, within a walking pace here. I'm keeping it generally under 3 miles per hour, a lot of times dropping down into that 1 mile per hour zone. But I want you to listen for something here. Right, so I did that on purpose. You notice I revved the throttle a little bit and the motorcycle pace did not pick up. It's because I've got the clutch in the friction zone. If you've got the clutch in the friction zone, doesn't matter what you're doing with the throttle hand, you're controlling the speed of the motorcycle with the clutch. And that's an important concept to understand. Since I got the Goldwing with the DCT on it, I get a lot of questions about slow speed maneuvers with the DCT model. So I just wanted to demonstrate that it can be done with the DCT as well. You just don't have the clutch to manipulate. So all the other techniques are the same: head and eyes up, dragging the rear brake, steady throttle, and the Goldwing will slip the clutch for you. So it does part of the work, but everything else is still the same. So the Goldwing with the DCT, you can do those slow speed maneuvers on it just as well as you can any other motorcycle. It just takes some getting used to because riders aren't used to riding without a clutch, but it can be done. Once you start getting better with the slow race, we'll add a pause to it. This time we're keeping speeds low again, under 10 miles per hour. Your head and eyes are up, clutch in the friction zone, dragging the rear brake. But this time we'll add a slight pause without putting your feet down. Now this exercise helps you further refine your clutch, throttle, rear brake control, and getting them all to work together. Don't worry if you can't get the motorcycle to a complete stop. Just keep working on the exercise until you increase the pause time or the delay before you get the motorcycle moving again, while keeping the motorcycle under control. As we said earlier, these exercises help you build the foundation of slow speed control. If you're struggling with U-turns or turns from a stop, these two exercises are the ones you want to work on first. They'll help you build up to the more technical skills, and before long, you're riding your motorcycle at slow speed under complete control. So these are great foundational exercises that you want to keep sharp and keep working on. Till next week, guys, it's Kevin with MCrider, and I'll see you on the road.